Okay, and lastly, we have Philippe Cloutier from Cartier Resources, President and CEO. They're advancing the Cadillac project in Quebec here. It's one thing I would want to add is their largest shareholder that I'm sure you will mention. So with further ado, here we go. Last one.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm the last presentation. I hope you're here for me, right? or is it for Rick? We'll find out. This is a drone shot. Yes, this is from one of our main sponsors, Caveat Emptor Inc. They sponsor all the junior companies. Here we go. There you go. I mentioned the shareholder. Agnico is a shareholder to the tune of 27%. I'll get to how that happened during the presentation. And rest assured, they are a significant shareholder, but all the other minority shareholders have conserved their rights. The SEC, TSX have seen to that. We have an IRA, which I would invite you people to visit on the website, on CEDAR as well. You will see they do not have a first right of refusal. They're simply a very good partner, and obviously they're a senior producer in the area. You've seen most junior companies rise on the price of gold. What's significant for us is when we started and launched our program in July, our share price started to appreciate. It went from 10 cents to 22 cents. More significantly, in the last 6 or 7 weeks, we've traded 60 million shares. And that 60 million shares actually was rotated demographically out of the black retail box, and we're able to build a new foundation. Indeed, we're starting to flirt with a $100 million market cap, which provides us, at least in North America, with a totally different and more vast audience, namely the portfolio managers and the analysts. And then finally, we do have $12 million in the bank, another 800,000 coming from the government. So yes, we are fully funded to do the program that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to hit on these 5 different boxes throughout the presentation, so no, I don't have to read this. Okay, our claim to fame is that we own now, we've recently consolidated a 20-kilometer stretch of the Larder Lake Cadillac Fault, one of the largest land positions held by a junior along that prolific productive fault in the Abitibi Greenstone Belt. The Abitibi Greenstone Belt, and specifically the Larder Lake Cadillac Fault, is home and where was born senior major gold producers. Agnico Eagle, not a lot of people know this, but Barrick was actually launched from the Camflo mine, and which then later went to Nevada. There's Noranda, we're now seeing Hecla, IAMGOLD, and obviously Gold Fields has recently entered the district. And potentially Fresnillo, with the recent takeover of Probe, will now be added to the roster of these foreign companies coming to the Abitibi Greenstone Belt. So you see where we're located. We're located at the eastern end of the Larder Lake Cadillac Fault. That fault starts at our property and goes all the way to Wawa, 550 kilometers to the west in Ontario. And there appears to be, it's just an empirical observation, a cluster of mines, which we call mining camps, every 15 kilometers along this fault. And eventually, when companies start mining on these projects, if they consolidate the whole package, they become mining companies to the tune of Agnico and IAMGOLD, and also Eldorado. So that's where we're at the eastern end, the Cadillac Fault and the Cadillac project that you can see there. And I'm going to spend the rest of the presentation specifically on that, and that's what I hope to get across is why we think we're going to be significantly re-rated in the following year. Just a bit of chronology to explain, on the one hand, how Agnico got to own 27%, and on the other hand, how we got this project. In 2013, from a bankruptcy sale, for $261,000, we bought a past-producing mine. Right? It had produced in the 1960s, had produced in the 1980s, and it had produced in 1997 when it shut down. Not for lack of ore, as you'll see, but precisely because the price of gold was $250 US at the time. And the company that had this project had some bad luck in Guyana, and they also closed 3 other mines in the Abitibi. But from that acquisition, we were able to compile and design a program which enticed Agnico to take an initial strategic investment in us. And that's when they initially took a 19% stake for about just under $5 million. And then the rest is history. We were the darling of Bay Street. We raised 17 million and drilled and drilled and drilled and produced 3 resource estimates and chalked up just under 2 million ounces. But by 2021, we had drilled right up to the property boundaries. Although this was a strategic acquisition, it was a smallish property. And in 2021, precisely in that lobby over there with Jose Vizquera, president of O3, we negotiated the acquisition of the remainder of the property, fully supported by Agnico. And that's when, in 2022, we were able to consolidate the entire land position. Agnico backed us up with their strategic participation right, and then we continued drilling, but only around the deposit. We produced a 4th resource estimate and a preliminary economic assessment. But the price of gold then was $17.50 US, a fraction of what it is today. Nonetheless, we continued to drill by 2024, and that's when we discovered that we were dealing with a camp-scale property. So 100,000 meters of diamond drilling that we proposed at the time, people here were saying, well, how are you going to finance that? Well, at the same time we proposed that, Agnico then acquired O3 Mining. Ta-da! That's why they have 27%. It wasn't a takeover. It was simply acquiring another company that also had a large share position in their company, hence the 27%. Hence the drafting of the investor rights agreement that provides them simply with a rule of conduct towards Cartier and minority shareholders. But at the very same time, we were about to design and engineer a program that was going to demonstrate that this is a camp, a mining camp, and the next slides will show you that. So there you go. 100,000 meters of diamond drilling, spread over 15 kilometers. There's 600 diamond drill holes. We will limit our drilling from 0 to 300, and we're simply going back on known gold zones and showings that had been discovered and brought to light over a 90 period of historical exploration work, all right? And a lot of these things were never followed up simply because this whole land package was held by about 10 different property owners with property boundaries. And none of them wanted to follow up on their discoveries for fear of telegraphing their success to their neighbors. And all of them did not have the missing piece of the puzzle, which was the Chimo mine. So on the first hand, we had developed a large knowledge and database on the Chimo mine, drilling for about 6 or 7 years, understanding how the mineralization occurs on this vast land package. And on the second hand, we were able in 2023 and 2024 to compile the entire area, assemble a massive database, generate traditional type targeting, and then finally take these drill holes and this massive data set, which is 500,000 meters of diamond drilling, 150,000 assays from rock, bark, soil, and so on and so forth, from 5,000 or 4,600 diamond drill holes. On the one hand, we gave that database to a bunch of engineers so that they could update the mineral resource estimate and produce a modern leapfrog model. On the other hand, we surrendered the database to verify artificial intelligence to say, hey, let your machine work your magic and see what, see how you could generate targets. So that's what you're seeing here. The red and the yellow dots are known, historically discovered gold zones. And the green and the blue dots are verified and or new grassroots targets. 70% of the diamond drill program is designed to grow the resources and expand the known gold zones. And 30% of the diamond drill program is designed to make new discoveries. So let's look at it. Scaling back to 2022 and 2023, we focused, the very first part, we focused only on the Chimo mine, and then we compiled the extensions. So every yellow box that you see there, that's 2024 diamond drilling. That has not been added to the resource estimate. The next slide is a vertical slice through this mine, looking at the Cadillac Fault. There you have it. The top part of the slide is the Chimo mine, the past-producing Chimo mine, with the 2.3 million ounce resource. And you could see the shaft, the drifts, and you could see the ramp that had been done by a delinquent junior in 1987. And then you could see in the yellow blobs all the historic discoveries that had been done over this 15-kilometer stretch. And note the white patches in between these yellow blobs, which basically says that was a property boundary, nobody explored there. And the bottom part of the slide, well, that's the one conservative iteration of the preliminary economic assessment. I'd like to remind you, when you have a big brother like Adico, you have very little wiggle room to try to be overly promotional when you do some stuff like that, because they will catch you on the rebound. So, next slide. From that, we started drilling. And what we've done is quite atypical and quite ambitious. It's, again, 100,000 meters of diamond drilling, 600 diamond drill holes spread over 15 kilometers from 0 to 300 meters. 2 drill rigs for 18 months. So we've actually set up a robust press release machine. So as not to confuse people, because this entire area would be the equivalent of 5 different projects and 5 different juniors. We've gone about designing press releases where we've got the highlights in the title, obviously, 2 to 3 paragraphs designing, why is it significant for investors, clearly identifying what zone we're drilling, and then a full paragraph, which the corporates and analysts like to see. So they're very lengthy press releases, but if you read them, you'll be able to follow the story quite well for the next 18 months. Press release with drill results every 2 or 3 weeks for 18 months. That's about 36 to 40 press releases on drill results. And so right now you're looking at the contact area, 111 grams per ton over 2 meters with a 10-ounce material. You can see that here we've intersected a series of 3 high-grade veins over a 50-meter width. It's known over strike length of 400 meters. It goes from surface down to 300 meters. And therefore, we're already thinking that this part of the world, or this part of the fault, will see some open pit mining, which has not been seen before. The second area that we have another machine on is the main area. And whatever drilling is, or whatever results are found here, we'll be able to add to the upgraded resource assessment in the PEA. And although the veins are thin, they're very high grade. So, before last slide. The news flow will stem from 5 fundamental components. 100,000 meters of diamond drilling on known gold zones and new discoveries. Metallurgical test work. On the one hand, to upgrade and have a better data set for the updating PEA that we want to have, but also shopping around on the highway the various toll milling opportunities that we may have. Obviously, we suspect that this thing's going to go back into production yet a 4th time, so we've initiated the environmental baseline studies. And finally, you can expect updated resource estimates, and from that, an updated PEA. It's a very lean and mean team. Myself, Renan Deroff, the VP, and our board members here, of which we have Manuel Pfeiffer, one of the local people, European, so you could quiz him anytime you want. And a final slide is, you can see the high-grade ore underground at Chimo. So although initial iteration of the PEA, we went for bulk mining underground, it does have some bonanza ore. And right off to the right there, you can see the tailings pond, which is a curiosity here because we're actually going to be doing a resource estimate on that gold-rich dust because it's pre-powdered or grinded rock that we could scoop up and send to one of the mills. If there's barely 10,000 ounces of gold in there and it's, men and women playing with large Tonka trucks, it's easy mining, and that could generate maybe $40 to $50 million of money for us. So that's it. I've got 30 seconds to go before Rick hits the stage.
So might want to reiterate the permitting and the local support in the area is extremely valuable for a project like this.
It is extremely valuable, and PFS stands for pre-feasibility study, but for us it's permittable, financeable, and scalable. You are 30-minute drive from Val d'Or, access to infrastructure, qualified workforce. I hope you've noticed that this is mining country. You have Eldorado, Agnico, IM Gold, West Dome, now Goldfields, potentially Fresnillo. There are no really encumbrances and obstacles to getting projects up and going here. And that's a lot of value. And yeah, I have neglected to mention it, but it does make it such that a company like Cartier can eventually get fast-tracked to production on this thing.
All right. Well, thank you very much.